These are the reasons why this non-toxic man suddenly feels really, really weird. You find normal behavior surprising. He shows up on time, he plans dates, he doesn't cancel. When you are actually on a date, he asks you, when can I next see you? I really enjoy time with you. He says how great you are. You're not used to this kind of behavior because this man, he shows that he's interested in you, in your life, in your likes, dislikes, your hobbies, not just your body. He wants to introduce you to his family. He's asking you about your future plans. What's your vision for the future? He wants to go on a holiday with you. Maybe he's love bombing me. Maybe he's showing me all this attention, but then later he's going to show his true colors, because it can't be that someone is gonna be like that. You may even find yourself in a situation where this man who is telling you how great you are and how much into you he is, you may even find yourself in a situation where you are trying to talk him out of it, because the way you see yourself, you may have low self-esteem. And this is something that I spoke about in this video here, why your low self-esteem is one of the reasons you keep attracting those toxic relationships, unavailable men, taking men, and why you're chasing unrequited love. And if this is something you're still trying to overcome, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. And if you are an old viewer, hi, welcome back. When you have a history of toxic relationships, you may find yourself in a situation where you self-sabotage yourself, where you are behaving in a really odd and crazy way. And you also may end up in a situation where you are trying to convince yourself that, yes, this is a great guy on the paper and I should be with him, which I'll talk about later through the video, so make sure you don't run away. Healthy relationships after toxic ones are really, really hard, because you will have a lot of triggers coming up. I remember I had this incident myself. I was sitting at the restaurant and I agreed with this guy that I was dating that I'm going to meet him at a certain time. As I was sitting at the restaurant, I could see him from the distance in a group with his friends. As I was sitting there, I could feel how I've started creating all these stories in my head that he doesn't respect me. Why is he there with his friends when I am here? Is he trying to hide me from someone? Is this a toxic relationship? And I could feel how I'm just getting really carried away. And then I stopped myself for a moment. I took a deep breath and I was like, okay, what is happening right now? Is this a reflection of reality, what is happening at this very moment? Or maybe this is just something that reminds me of my past experiences. And as I was sitting there thinking about it, I did remember how, for example, I still remember this very, very embarrassing moment. I was in Italy. I was an exchange student in Bologna. I think I was 20, maybe 21 max. Imagine, that's like 15 years ago, right? And I was passing by this restaurant and I saw this guy that I met the weekend before, and we had like a little interaction. We exchanged numbers and we were texting each other. As I was passing this restaurant, I saw him sitting there with a girlfriend, with a woman. I didn't know if it was his girlfriend. They were just sitting there. As I was passing by the restaurant, he completely blanked me, like he couldn't see me. So then what I did, I walked back again to make sure that I'm passing him by again. So I was like, maybe he couldn't see me. It looked like he's looking straight into my eyes, but he can't see me. So I think I must have done that maybe 3 times to make sure that I'm seen by him, and still he completely ignored me. So I was like, this is very strange. A week later, I bumped into him at this party and he said, I was with my girlfriend and she's a bit funny and all these things. I realized that he completely ignored me. So when I was sitting at this restaurant and I was waiting for my date, and as I saw him there sitting with his friends, I for some reason connected the story with that story that happened to me in the past, and those triggers coming, they were like telling me, danger, 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 this man is disrespecting you, this man is involved with someone else, this man is whatever other story is coming. So if you had that toxic relationship, if you've been in situations where you were in a relationship with someone unavailable, married, emotionally unavailable, or taking you as his side chick, when you are suddenly with someone who is really not toxic, someone who you can clearly see that respects you, you have to understand that sometimes you will have certain triggers coming, and you have to check in with yourself, and you have to take a moment and just evaluate the situation before you go all like raw crazy, and ask yourself, okay, the situation that I'm responding to, that my body is responding to at the moment, and that I'm feeling all those feelings, is this the situation that is happening at this very moment, or is this just a reminder of something that happened in the past, and those memories, this is what is triggering me, and this is why my body is responding the way it is responding, but maybe it has nothing to do with this person that you're currently seeing. And you know what? Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does, and that's also something that I'll talk about in this video later. Another thing that happens very often when you are finally dating someone who is non-toxic and really a decent man is that you will go out of your way to prove that there is something wrong with him. You'll be looking for those red flags like mushrooms in September. I don't know why I said mushrooms. Do mushrooms come in September? I need to ask my mom. She's very good at her mushroom situations. Anyway, are you a fan of Sex and the City? Tell me in the comments. I'm a big fan of Sex and the City. I must have seen every episode too many times. It's my go-to series when I don't want to use my brain, and maybe I want to soothe my anxiety or something, or just want to switch off and just have something in the background. I know it has a lot of toxic messages and all this, but I don't care. Just leave me alone with my toxic show. Do you remember there is a scene where Carrie, she's spending the night at this guy's place. He leaves her at his apartment. Carrie gets carried away because she goes through his stuff, and then she finds this box, and she's just acting like a crazy person, like a complete psycho. So you may find yourself in that situation as well, when you are finally seeing a man who seems really normal, non-toxic. You will think that he's hiding something, and you will try to prove yourself in all possible ways what's wrong with him. You may even have some sort of visions coming. I remember I had this thing. I was seeing this guy, and he was very normal, treated me well, respectful. I would sometimes walk down the street and I would see someone from the distance that would look like him, and maybe he would be holding hands with a woman, and I would be thinking, ha, spotted. I knew he's a cheater. I knew he's a liar. I knew this is too good to be true. So imagine what kind of psycho behavior is that? You're walking down the street, you see a complete stranger with a woman, a man that looks from the distance a bit like a man that you are dating, and you are trying to convince yourself that, yes, spotted, I told you. So you find yourself going out of your way, creating situations, creating stories in your head. What is wrong with this person? I'd love to hear some of your crazy stories. Let me know in the comments. And a very interesting thing is this, that if you look back at your toxic relationship, if you look back at this guy who didn't respect you, you will see that you were doing the opposite. You were going out of your way, trying to find everything that is so great with him. And it's almost like he couldn't do no wrong. Any moment you had a chance to spend with him was so special and so precious, and it's almost like his farts smelled like roses. He was so great, so great. You put him on this pedestal, and it's just, oh, he's just so magical, so amazing. And now suddenly when you really have a man who is maybe really amazing, you're not able to accept this, but you're trying to find what is wrong with him. Another thing that may happen when you are dating the so-called good guy after being in a toxic relationship is that you'll find yourself not that attracted to him, or not that overly interested. It almost feels like, something is missing. Is it the mystery? Is it the butterflies? Something is just, I don't know. He seems great on the paper. And it's almost like you don't quite know how to explain that. And there are two sides to this. So maybe that you are simply feeling bored in this relationship because there are no mind games, there is no chasing, he's not hot and cold. I want you to think about your biggest love, maybe your most toxic relationship, the person that drove you absolutely crazy. You actually forgot who you are because when you look back you can't recognize that you would behave in that kind of way. Take a moment and remove his unavailability from the picture, his inconsistency and his toxic behavior, and make him really available and look at the qualities that he has, right? Make him really available and ask yourself, okay, was he really that special, or was it the only thing that really made me feel crazy about him was because he was so unavailable, is because there was this absolute madness going. I remember reading a diary entry that I had from 2013 or something, and it said something along the lines, he picked me up from work, we came to my place, we ate, then something else, and then it said something, oh, is that all life is? And now keep in mind that this entry was followed by this really unavailable guy's ability to stay consistent with his communication and how often he would see me for maybe a week or something. So after 1 week, I started questioning, oh, is that all life is? So I think this is one side of this coin. I don't have a coin with me. Where is a coin? Anyway, ask yourself, are you not attracted to him, to this decent, good man, because he's not giving you the drama? Or maybe there is another side to the story. You are doing 180 and this is the first decent man that you met after a toxic relationship, and you're going out of your way trying to convince yourself why you should be with him. And from my own experience, I had a situation where I started seeing this very non-toxic man, very decent. I did try to convince myself that I want to be with him. I found myself Googling things and reading threads of women telling how they simply accepted the fact that attraction is not going to be one of the things in their relationship. I did go down that route, but let me tell you, it didn't end very well. So it's up to you. You have to figure out yourself. Are you not that attracted to this person because simply he's not able to give you all the drama that you are so used to chasing and having and being fed with? Or maybe you are not that attracted to him because this is simply a man that you just not that drawn towards, not that attracted to, and then you have to act accordingly, whatever feels right for you. But my friend Carter, who is very wise, once told me, if you have to convince yourself to be with a man, maybe that's not the right man for you. Because imagine someone that you need to convince yourself to be with could be another person's the best thing that ever crossed their path. And now this one is the most painful part, where you feel that you've done so much work, you are not chasing all the drama, unavailable men, married, you are not wanting to play all these hide and seek games, no contact and all this, and you thought that you met this guy who is very decent and respectful, and then as the relationship evolved, you realize that, no, wait a minute, this is still quite toxic. And I know this may feel really devastating and you will start doubting yourself, but I think when this happens, it's also important to give yourself credit. This time, you were able to notice these things much earlier. Maybe in the past, something that would have taken you years to notice, this time taking you months. And in the future, that's only going to take you weeks or maybe just one date. And if you feel that you are still in that place where you are really attracted to unrequited love and unavailable men, then make sure that you watch this video here. Please like this video so more women can see that. Subscribe, hit notifications for more, and thank you so much for watching.